Welcome back to the Comedy Store Doorcast. We have a free show every Wednesday in the Belly Room. That is all these door guys that are on the pod today. And it's really fun. You should come check it out. Sorry for starting with such frantic energy, but we had setbacks and I'm all pent up. With me today, we have Jesse Johnson returning. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, this
Thanks
is when you... Yeah.
for having me.
Very natural and good. And we also have returning Saul Trujillo.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having me.
Very good. And first-timer Cooper Lyden.
Good to be here.
Yes.
You've all been waiting, heard a lot about me. Glad to drop in on your guys' thing.
Hey, it's
really good to
our
be here.
thing, Cooper. Now that you're here, it's our thing.
Your guys' thing, this little thing you're doing, looks really great.
You always try and separate yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
You try to stand. You don't want to be considered a lot guy, even though you are a lot guy.
No, I'm a guy that's in the lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a death sentence.
You're a guy who's also a lot as well.
Nice.
Yeah. I freak out there. That's my thing.
You freak out. You think, how often do you have freakouts out there?
Well, when I first started, I would when it was crowded, I'd be like, what am I going to do? But now I know what I'm going to do, so I just get really angry about it. Like
Right.
a big car will show up, and I'm like, I got to move this fucking guy up the ramp. And then there's certain comics that are famously known to be angry, so I get very nervous around them, and then they're always the nicest.
Yeah.
And then,
Name names, dog.
I mean, you know who they are. They're the most famous people in the world.
Yeah.
But
Well,
they're all
to
wonderful.
comics.
Yeah.
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 So how long have you been working here? Not since the reopening, right?
Yeah. But even after that, though, I've probably only worked here like 6 months or less, I think. And then before that, I was only here like less than 5 times. So,
Really?
yeah, I was
He
not
was
well
young.
acquainted.
Oh, wow.
I
It's
was
not allowed in.
Mm-hmm.
How old are you?
22.
Okay.
That's depressing, right?
That's fair.
I thought you were 23.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You gave
But
an
you
extra
look
year?
all of 23.
I present way more as 23.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've worked a lot once. Have you either of you worked a lot?
Nah.
I've actually been considering it. I won't take much time on this, but I kind of want to just do one training day with Cooper or Austin.
The Denzel, sure.
And yeah, I hope it's a lot like that too. But anyway, I will decide after that day if I want to actually do it.
I think that is a cool thing, and if you like it, I would recommend you doing it. I
Sounds
think
scary though.
it's
Did you have
scary.
a bad time?
No, I had a fine time because it was still like very early and like after we had reopened, and we had like one show, and it wasn't a big deal, and I got through it. I just don't. It's not my thing, but I mean, the Comedy Store door guys are like a brotherhood, and the lot guys are like a brotherhood within the brotherhood, and you don't even want any part of that, Cooper.
A brotherhood within a brotherhood sometimes feels like a small group.
Yeah,
it's like
Did you ask?
Like,
You're
me
just
about that?
following orders.
like we're in the school, but are we special ed? You know what I mean? Like what
Yeah.
group is this?
No,
You know what I
you're-
mean? But
Gifted.
I've come around. I've been watching like a documentary on Formula One, and now I view the lot guys as a Formula One team. Where like we had a star, Steven Garza, like who moved on
That's
from the lot.
That's
And
the
then-
way you should. Yeah.
And now there's advancements. Like Jesse could be coming into the fold. Like a really promising young racer. You know what I mean? But
It's-
Baby driver.
yeah, there's mental turmoil on the track all the time. You know what I mean? It's very similar.
I could if I train
Same
with you, I could be like the pit person.
Mm-hmm.
And when you back up the car up,
Yeah.
I could like put the gas in.
Yeah.
And
That would be sick if we just started working on the cars that come in.
yeah,
Well-
that's how we'll make some better tips.
Yeah,
We should do like a little ShamWow.
yeah,
a fancy like parking at the mall or whatever where they valet and wash the car.
yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
I think we should start that next week.
Mark Maron comes out, I'm washing it with a newspaper. Like fucking Home Alone 2 homeless guy, just like
Yeah.
fucking
It's
scrubbing
like, I was going to read that later.
Mm-hmm.
Took it out of his car.
Yeah, taking wheels off, putting them back on.
Because he reads the paper in the car.
I'm sure he
Yeah,
does.
that's good. Yeah, I don't know why you don't want to be considered a lot guy. It's a good thing.
I just immediately felt othered by the situation. I mean, because first off, physically, it can feel lonely because it's like I was thrown into the lot, and then we got all these superstars inside seating the main room, you know what I mean? And then I'm out there in the lot. But I've really come around on it because now I'm out there. I'm standing in the rain.
There
Oh
you
my
go.
God.
Yeah.
I have
You
a
know,
picture of that, by the way.
You're very cute when you look like pathetic and stuff.
Yeah.
You're very
Yeah.
good at like having downcast eyes. You have
Yeah.
a heavy brow, so that helps.
Yeah,
That's very good.
that's how I get tips.
And they
then-
threw
yeah.
you in the lot. Like, did they even ask you?
No.
You were just
No, I actually
that's how sometimes you have to start it. That's how you get them.
Luke will remember because when I first got scheduled, I texted Luke and I started having a breakdown and I was like, "What the fuck is this shit?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Am I fired? Like, what is this?"
Yeah.
I thought it was like a punishment.
Cooper has very sweetly reached out to me a couple times as like this captain door guy or whatever, and he'd be like, "Hey, what does this schedule even mean? Am I nothing to anybody?"
Yeah.
And I'll be like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's good.
Yeah.
You're going through it.
I appreciate it.
And it's normal to be mad, but just know that it's not only you.
Yeah.
Who are their options too? It's like me or Faji. We can't fit in all all the cars,
Yeah.
highways or the other ways.
I just
so
thought
you're
it was
the perfect one.
I just thought it was
Highways
funny.
yeah, you know what I mean.
Highways or the
Highways or
Tall
sideways.
or yeah, you know what I mean.
And then that was one of the reasons I was given. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I can fit in all cars,
Yeah.
so I understand that.
It's
And I
you
mean-
and Alex and Renee. Anyone else?
Austin.
Austin.
Yeah.
So that's
good.
our crew right now.
He has a little. He's freaky outy too.
Well, yeah, I think that's why if you look at the lot guys, it's guys with like anger issues who are prone to like falling apart.
I feel like Renee is very stoic though, isn't
Well,
But
it's
he's
either
prone to falling apart, I think.
yeah, I
he? I
mean
don't know. I don't think he thinks about it enough to fall apart.
no,
True, I've never seen him
I think
fall
he's just
apart,
like, well,
actually.
I'll just do this.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
You guys aren't following us. You
it's
walk away mutters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
He did get into it with the guy, and you're right. He stayed the same the whole time.
Yeah, he
was
doesn't
just like,
have a
I
lot
don't
of
know,
range of personality.
Dude,
yeah.
it's crazy.
The guy grabbed him on the
Yeah.
street
Oh yeah,
and like shook him and threw him, and the whole time Renee's just like, "What?"
Yeah.
He's like, oh, what?
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on. Okay, I guess I'll fight you. Like,
Renee will just look at like the busiest lot and then just put his hand on his stomach and be like, huh. And then,
he does a little tummy pull. Yeah.
And last night, Austin is like, I gotta shit and throw up at the same time. You gotta watch the lot. I go out, cars are everywhere. And then he comes back and like he's like, fuck, I got a drink spilled on me. Like me and
Yeah, I
Austin
saw that
are both
happen.
like the lot guys who have turmoil. Like to the point that I almost think that part of why they put me in the lot is so like Ryan could see me freak out on the cameras. Because I give him a lot. Like he really likes to come out when I'm in a bad mood because he thinks it's very funny, and you know I understand that. Like he came out last night and he was like, "Coop's in a mood," and I was still too mad to like respond.
Engage. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
But like the one night that like Ti and Usher were here and I was really pissed, he like came out and just to watch me talk shit about Ti and Usher, and he was like, "I love it." Like I think he likes that more than like the sets I do.
Ryan's another guy that doesn't change his mood at all. Like when he dragged that guy out by the neck, I'm sure he was like, well, I'm doing this now.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is what is happening to you and me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he looks at us and gives us a smirk like
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
in combat,
Yeah.
very chill.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of freaky.
he's like, I beat a father up in front of his wife and children. Like, God damn.
You're a monster.
All right, man.
Yeah. Ryan is a manager here who I forget who. I mean, a lot of people call
You
him
could've
Captain America.
You
Yeah.
could have just stopped at Ryan is a man,
Yeah.
Ryan is a man.
A real man.
a real man.
Do you prefer the lot or inside?
I've gotten to a point where I realize that I work much better with comedians than I do with people because, like, if you're fucking up in the lot, comics, especially guys that have worked here, will look at you and be like, oh, well, this is like a young,
Yeah.
like, idiot who I empathize with because he's trying to do the same thing as me. So it's harder for them to be like, fuck you, like, because there's an inevitable relation there, even though we're very different.
I can't imagine your customer service is sterling.
No, but I'm too afraid to act rude to any comic. So I'm like,
No, but
I
to
will.
customers, I'm saying.
Oh yeah, it's really. I mean, it's not bad, but like
Not to you.
like I said, I pick my battles. You know what I mean? Like I was talking with Saul about like this guy that came up and he was trying to pay $100 to get into Bob Saget's memorial, like where people are literally crying, and he's like, you know, my girlfriend's really trying to get in. And then, like, I'm looking at Saul, like, this guy a fucking idiot. Like, what is he doing? And then he's with his girlfriend, and I was like, get the fuck out of here. And last night was really great, too. There was a guy in the OR sitting in the bucket seats, which is where only paid regulars can sit. He was taking pictures, and I go up, and I go, what are you doing? He goes, I'm sorry. I go, you got to delete that. And I go, and what are you doing sitting here? And I just go, get out of here.
Yeah.
And then he just got up and left, and he didn't come back. And I'm really good at finding out a
done a
guy
few of
who's,
those.
yeah.
I'm so bad at that. I'm like, hey, excuse me, are you here with someone?
Yeah.
They're like, wait, what?
I
And
mean,
I'm like, "Do you
that's
have
a good
ticket
first
for the-"
question, but if they're taking a picture, yeah.
Yeah.
But I find weak people. Like I can tell a guy that I'm like, oh, that guy's weaker than me, so I can handle this. But
it could be an issue with me. I find like bigger. I want to like if I want to fight him.
You want
like,
the smoke.
I want the smoke.
Yeah.
I want. I don't know why, but I do.
I do enjoy it when a guy is like that guy was like saying he was gonna come back with a Magnum, and I like thought that was so funny.
A condom?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was like a Magnum.
No.
He's like, I'm
ice
gonna
cream
fuck
bar?
you.
He was saying a free.
There you go.
There you
All
go.
of them.
A private investigator. But Magnum PI. But
He came back.
do you? Yeah. I kicked someone out on, I guess it was yesterday. We were so busy yesterday. It was really like intense. Like everywhere you're going, you're seeing like comics like that you wanted to see and didn't want to see. It was just like, it was the old store. It was like too many people. It was it was good and bad. It was really a lot. But there was a guy with a real like Jimmy Carr laugh in the main room last night. Like, yeah. You know, the Jimmy Carr laugh that he has. But he was really like, he was the focus of the show for too long, and we should have kicked him out earlier. But finally I was just like, hey, let's go. We're going out. We're going outside. And he's like, you're kicking me out? And I go, yeah. Isn't that obvious? Like, you've been acting terribly the whole time, and you're finally getting kicked out. And he fell. And I had to grab his backpack, and I like threw it at him in the lobby and stuff. I was not happy with him. But
what was he doing? Was it just a bad laugh?
He was heckling and stuff. He was
Okay.
like going back.
So get fucking kicked out for your laugh. It'd be so funny.
Listen, man, you sound dumb as shit.
No. And
you
if
gotta
that
go.
was the case,
I hate the
Jessica
sound of
Wellican would never be allowed in a room.
Bunch of bad laughs.
Yeah.
You're fucking shit up, man. You're not enjoying this correctly. There was a guy. There was a guy in the OR who his thing was he couldn't stop himself from standing up. He realized,
yeah, I heard Dave tell security, and he's like, "Is it a problem?" He's like, "Well, I told him to sit down, and then I left, and he stood up immediately again."
Oh, it was a funny.
So
I saw it.
it.
I saw it
And
happen.
Dave working together is a really funny combo.
And I rate Southern Belle is what you did. And I rate Southern
It's
Belle.
the dream team. He walked up to him standing, and he goes, "Can you sit down?" And the guy sits down, and then I'm watching the whole thing, and Dave literally turns his back. First second, stands up. And then Dave gets back, and I'm like, he stood up again. He's like, man, he stood right up. He's like, this guy's gonna disrespect me like that.
What is he? Where was he sitting in the room?
He was
Towards the
he was
front?
in, no, he was in the very corner, but he was in a place where when he was blocking a server path, so that was the problem. But you realize people have
One of
these
the
like
problems, yeah.
everybody will have these like ticks that they can't stop.
Yeah.
So after we told him to stop standing, I would see him begin to stand and then push his knees down. But he never stopped the whole night. Like, he could not do it.
That's so weird.
Because it was like, in some senses, it makes sense. Like, in Def Jam, like, people stand up and clap when a joke is good. And, like, he was doing that, but it was like...
But was it joke? Was it
Just-
based on what the comedian was saying, or is it just like kind of in the middle of a joke? Or
You could tell... No, it was definitely in reference to, like, his excitement about what was happening. And then if he was clapping, he was really excited about what was being said. But sometimes, like, somebody just, like, mentioned the Raiders, and so he just stood up. And
well, Familia, Raider Nation. I get that. That's very exciting.
he was hyped,
Yeah.
you know? And
Sure.
it's just weird because it's just weird to, like, the things you have to tell adults. Like, we have to
Yeah.
go
For
get
sure.
a guy who we're, like, paying to go tell another grown man, like, stop standing
acting
up.
like a child. I had a woman one time stamp her feet on the ground like the waitress said something else, and I was like, okay, what do you think an adult would do in this situation?
Yeah.
Like, and that's I've used a couple times that line, and it really slows everything. Like, you can't come back at that.
No.
Like, if
You can, but it's not going to be good.
You're
Yeah.
not going to look like an adult. Is what you're not going to do.
Looks
Yeah.
like your inner child is acting right
Yeah.
now.
Right.
I told someone to get therapy and drink water. Hey, drink some water and get therapy, man. You need to chill out. You know?
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's. I have very calm but like severe interactions with a lot of audience where I'm calm and I go, enough, okay.
I just don't get the whole idea. Every night, multiple people say, "How do I get my credit card back?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "You gave it to a server, right?"
Yeah.
And they go, "Yeah." And I go, "And they served you drinks from your card, yeah?" And they go, "Yeah." I don't say all that.
Yeah.
I just say,
Yeah.
"Go to your table like a
Sit
restaurant.
down.
They'll bring you your card back."
That's a good line. Yeah.
And then they don't.
And they
yeah,
don't.
a lot of the time
they
like, 'cause
never do.
They
well,
just don't.
at that point in the night, they've seen like 3 hours of comedy. They're like, I need to get the
Yeah.
fuck out of this room, and I
Yeah.
understand that somewhat. So if they're like, if they have the crazy eyes, they're a little desperate.
Yeah, I do empathize a little bit, but I was like, I don't know, ask for your check early. And some people have told me before, my Uber's on the way. And that's also like, you shouldn't.
That's your planning.
You shouldn't even have your phone
Yeah.
in the room. So like everything you're doing is just not smart.
Yeah.
Why would you order an Uber if you're not ready to go? Like,
because they think it's like a restaurant where people are getting served at different times. Where it's
Yeah.
like, I wonder if I just didn't put the thought into it, if I would be the same guy. But it's like, you realize it's like 300 people got drinks at the same time.
yeah.
300 people are getting their checks back at the same time. And they're like,
That's-
but I gotta go now. And it's like,
Yeah,
That's
because
what
it's
they-
295
Yeah.
people that you don't know.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
And
It's
it's
about
like-
me tonight. You
it's
know?
like, oh, you gotta get back to the babysitter? Well, you, the babysitter, and your kid can go fuck themselves because there's a person making not that much money back there
Yeah.
trying to fuck it, and you're not even gonna tip them well. So it's like, fuck
I know,
you.
That's
you
the
know?
worst when you know they're not going to tip because they're mad for waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then they're just working their ass off.
Half the time people are looking for their check anyway is like, they're like, hey, where do I get? And I see the server in their section. I go, sit down.
Yeah.
Or
It's fine.
Or I'll go, okay, I'll go get your server. Do you know what they look like? And they'll go,
That's
and
what
then
bothers
I go,
me.
I love
go,
it.
That's what bothers
is it a man or a woman? And they go, well, like you can tell in LA, like they don't want to like say their gender.
Dude,
And then I'll be
so
like, are
funny.
they white or black? And they'll be like, you can tell.
What does it matter?
Well,
Yeah.
I
They
think
start like
Yeah, yeah,
sweating.
I think a lot of that is also like they don't pay attention to the people in service industry, so that's
Yeah.
another thing that they're embarrassed of. And it's like,
True.
oh, I should have treated them like a human being.
Yeah.
Even though they're waitresses, they shouldn't be. But like at the store specifically, that's what I mean. But every time, the most complaints come from people talking about the servers. That's like the most complaints I get all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pissed. One of the funniest things ever is I was like, what does your server look like? And then they're like, it was a woman. And I was like, is it a black woman? And he goes, come on, man. And I'm like,
You can't even use a descriptor?
yeah. I'm like, I
He
didn't.
said, come on,
Yeah.
man.
I was like, I didn't ask you to say the N-word. I asked, you can say yes or no. If you're afraid to say
Hey,
black,
it's just us.
yeah. Like,
You can say server.
like dog.
Yeah.
Like, she's a black woman. Like,
Yeah,
what do
there's
you?
nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that.
Like, what do you want me to say? Like, is she of African descent? Is she like?
That
we
sounds
all
awful.
Isn't
I
Yeah.
got
that the human
uncomfortable.
race?
That's what I'm
though?
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not the point of it. I like to ask, I go, what's the last name on the card? What does it look like? And then I know the server in their section, so I won't like ask them much more than like just like the little stuff that I know they have to know.
Yeah, or if I know they're printing, because they'll go in the back and they'll print
Yeah.
like 100 receipts to go drop at the tables.
Yeah.
If I know they're doing that and people insist I check on their card,
Mm-hmm.
I go, okay, let me go check on it. And then I go into the hallway
Mm-hmm.
and wait for like 5 minutes. And then I go back in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'll do?
I like the main room because sometimes I'll go out one door and someone will ask me something and I'll go, oh yeah, let me check, and then I go out into the hallway and back in the other door where they can't see me and just go back to my post and be like, it'll be fine, like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, because it's going to happen in the same time
Yeah.
if I tell them or not. So
I like to help everybody. Where if somebody's like standing up near the bathroom and wants it down, they want their check. I go back and I find their server and I'm like, hey, this dumb, stupid piece of shit in a blue jacket is standing by there. And I go, I'm so sorry. This dumb fucking idiot who shouldn't be allowed to be alive won't sit down. And then it sort of, the server's like, oh yeah, I also, hope he like kills himself tonight.
Sure.
But now I know who to look for. And then everybody has
Then you
fun.
go back to the guy. You're like, your server's on as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go, hey,
There you go, you server, that piece of shit. You played
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
sides.
Yeah. Playing both sides.
Yeah, yeah.
I get here early most days, and I just like the time to set up chairs. And I always try to think of like, what's the like setting up chairs. What's going to cause the least amount of problems for everybody? I want to give people a little personal space, but not too much. And every time I set it up pretty well, I think a server comes in and crams all the tables together.
Yeah.
With different logic behind what your logic is, but like how the room should be set up.
Yeah, right. But they make bigger aisles for just them.
Yeah.
Whereas they go, why aren't people sitting here? I go, human beings can't fit in the space that you
Yeah.
created for them.
Yeah.
That's why. it's your fault.
The OR is almost worse because there are a lot
They're
of people who
yeah,
come
they're
in
both
and they
bad.
say, "Wait, we have to share a table with someone?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, it's like a cruise. Everybody sits together."
Yeah.
I try to spin it, but then
Is that what a cruise is like?
yeah.
Okay.
I
have
went,
big
well, I went
tables.
when I was like 8, and when you go to dinner, you just like sit with all the other people on the boat.
It's one of my favorite things to do is to
What?
just drop somebody at a table. There was like a very like cosmopolitan, like hot family of 3 sitting at a table, and then I just sat some weird loner next to him, and I had to.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, and like I had to go up and like tell one of them to like they have to take their purse off the bench because I'm like he's gonna join you, and then they look up and they're all dressed up to be on Sunset, and this is just some fucking
Flip-flops.
asshole. Yeah.
Basketball shorts.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Alone on a Thursday night.
Probably
and then,
stinks.
and you can just see they're like, oh, and then I walk away. And then I
Yeah.
just, because it's like, what are you going to do? And this one guy was like, can I move over there? And I was like, listen, man, you're the weird loner anywhere you go. I didn't tell him that, but I was like, you got to stay here. I was like, no, but I'm not going to move your weird ass around.
Yeah.
Like,
You get what you want because you got friends.
Yeah.
So see, I'm telling you.
yeah, go get one friend, then we can talk. Go get one to come with you, then
I
you're
don't mind.
two.
I don't mind the solos that come and like if they're cool and like they're not like I don't want to do anything. Like most people know what they're signing up for if they come solo. But I like to tell everybody when I'm seating like, hey, we're sold out. There's gonna be people seating next to you. Just heads up.
Yeah, that's good to get
And
them prepared.
I like to just get all the problems out of the way so everyone's calm. I love just calm, nice show. Please help me, help you, help me, etc.
I think that's why the OR can be kind of weird, like in the beginning of the show, because people are so close together and unhappy about their seats. But then over time, they get drunk and have fun, and they forget
Yeah.
that it's even a problem.
Right. It's also like you almost should never be looking at the people at your table anyway.
Yeah.
It's like even though this weird loner's at your table, it's like you don't have to.
Yeah, mind your business.
It doesn't matter. Like he's not part of this.
Still
at
bothers
all.
me.
Yeah.
I don't want him near me.
Yeah. I had one of like the dumbest. Like just the audience that came last night to the OR was just one of the dumbest groups of people ever. It was so weird. Like we had a lot of like old people, and I like when old people do the thing where they walk into the room and they just sort of start wandering, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna go to our seats," and I'm like, "I'm telling you where your seats are," and I had to say "excuse me" like 7 times to this lady before she would like listen, and I was like, "Ma'am, please stop sitting down right now, like please," and they wouldn't stop. People were just
People are
giving
standing
us.
up. People are sitting down in your room. You need to get control of
People are
people's
giving
levels.
us. People just started giving us their phones, and then like
Oh,
they.
yeah, that lady came out. She came out of the hallway, wandered out, like you're talking about.
She was
I think
so
it was-
confused.
Well,
Yeah, you
Dave's
know exactly what I'm
communication,
talking
I don't know
about.
about.
Dave's bad, but
Yeah.
I sat that lady down, and she was like, "What?" And
Yeah,
like,
she wandered into the hallway like that. Her eyes were so big. And
Yeah.
she was just like,
yeah.
and then I looked and I was like, is everything okay? And she goes, I'm trying to find my phone. And then I go, your phone? Nobody should have took your phone.
Yeah.
Like, it should be at your table. And then she started wandering back in the room. And as she wandered back, she's like, they're not at the table.
Yeah.
And then I told Dave, you or Dave, I said, they're looking for their phone. And wasn't it you? And you're like, oh, I got it. So maybe
Yeah,
you
But
didn't
she
take
like
their
left
phone?
it. Yeah. I'm
She
sure.
just
'cause-
left it with you?
Well, people would like Dave would give them the phone bags, and then
Not
he
saying
was like
anything.
caught up on getting other people checked in, so they would just leave their phone, and then he'd be like, "Oh wait, we got like 3 people's phones here."
And you can't tell whose they are.
Yeah, and he
That's
was
They're
like,
never
sealed in a
happened
white
with
That
bag.
Confederate ghost took my phone.
Yeah,
It's
he's just like, man, what the fuck? Like, just a group of like. Sometimes people are like defiant, but these people were just like, "What's happening?" And
Yeah,
it's
they
like,
were
man,
comical. It was like Kristen Wiig in prosthetics.
yeah, literally, like it was ridiculous.
I did hear Jessica Wellington walk to the back hallway because I was working the back door, and she walked by with a purpose, and she goes, "I'm trying to find this guy's wife," and it was just the most like nonsense statement, and she just kept walking. And then, but the best part was like 30 minutes later, this woman was yelling in the bathroom, and I don't even. It was like Frank, and then I look, and she comes out, and she goes, "I'm trying to find my husband," and I was like, "I know how to help
Comedy of
you."
errors.
yeah.
The pieces coming together in your head. You're like,
Yeah.
oh,
Dude,
that all makes
just
sense.
2 grown adults getting lost in a pretty small building.
Yeah.
Like, and then people are like, "What's the show downstairs?" And you're like, "What? Where's downstairs coming from?" Like, we're downstairs right now, and it's a basement. You know, like,
It was so
Yeah,
funny.
people wander in circles going, I'm looking for them. I go, just stay still.
yeah.
Like, or go to the front where it's the front.
Just hang out.
It's so weird working here, and like doing the customer service and the audience annoys me so much, but when I'm on stage, I love the audience.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like, you guys are all awesome. I love
Yeah.
you guys. And then
Yeah.
when I'm working, I'm like, God, these people suck.
Yeah, you're amazing. It was funny when I went up last night because me and Dave got to do like 5 minutes at the very end of the night, and people were like really ready for the show to be over.
Well,
which
they
is
threw up
why
a lot of people, didn't they?
They threw up way too many people.
Yeah.
But checks still needed to be
Oh,
cashed,
that's why.
So that's why we went up. But these guys were talking really loudly in the back, and I was like, man, shut the fuck up. I make $14 an hour. And that actually got them to be quiet, which I thought was very funny.
They're like, we're so sorry.
Yeah, it's like you can like
Four taxes.
yeah. I will like flex how little money I have.
I don't
just
have
to be
anything.
like, yeah.
I'm a man with nothing.
Yeah, because the guy with $1 million would be like, I don't give a fuck. I got $1 million. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I have nothing.
Yeah.
I have $14.
Nothing to lose. I
I'll
will tear
crawl
you
inside
down.
of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll
It
get
was
in your
funny to
ass.
see Cooper and Dave just kind of like, I don't know, and they were like already seating, and the house lights are still on, and the door to the main room is open, like to the
Oh,
bathroom.
it was?
Yeah. You guys didn't check anything. I was like,
Fuck
this is gonna be
yeah.
an airhead night. This is not awesome.
Yeah, and
I
then
was like, this is a bad sign for the evening.
We
And
called
the,
ourselves
the
the
audience
Dream
met
Team.
you at your level, I think.
Oh,
Two
yeah.
detectives of obscurity, dude. It's
Yeah.
the best.
I
Dude.
did bad too because apparently I'm backdoor, and it was just crazy with the way the shows were
I got a
switched.
little mad at you. I'm sorry. I mean,
It didn't feel mad. It
Yeah.
was good direction because I couldn't see from where I was sitting that all these people were just
I had
going
to-
into the main room through that side door. So then, like the whole night, I'm just staring down. I'm just staring down the hallway.
I had to stop myself from blowing up at you. I was like, not on purpose and everything, but like I had like just several customers trying to go to the belly room, just walk straight down the hall
Yeah.
and into the main room, which looks inviting and looks like a big nice show. And like I had like a bunch of people I had to keep kicking out of Mitzi's booth, and one woman like ordered a drink, and I had to go get her
Oh,
card
Jesus.
and close her out, and then open her a thing in the belly room. Meanwhile, like it's still super busy in the main room, and that's like I almost lost my.
No, you were really
shit.
calm, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, please keep an eye on that." But the OR show had all these comics hanging out like around the podium
Mm-hmm.
and in the hallway, so I could barely see like down there, and I would tell everybody exactly where to go. But a lot of times you're telling them the rules and everything, and they just start walking.
yeah.
And then I'm like, "Do you guys know where you're going?" And then they're like, "No." I'm like, "Okay, there's a
Yeah.
couple of things."
confidently, they'll be like, no.
Yeah. I'm like, "Let me help you."
Like, that's an issue for you.
Yeah, the confident stupidity is pretty amazing. I'm just like, I don't know what's wrong with that. I'm walking around your building.
I love
I'm just
it
keep
so
going
much.
forward. It's fine.
Yeah, 1 foot in front of the other. Is that a problem?
Yeah. Me and Jesse do a lot of, because we've talked about this, where it's like we do a lot of just sort of picking our battles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like we don't stop enough people. It's more just like, you know, like he seems all right. Like I mean, I've had nights.
Or
Not
or
a great strategy.
No, it's
I
not.
gotta be, yeah.
I've had nights where I'm like, man, anyone that wants to come in this door is getting in tonight. 'Cause I just,
You've only been here 6 months. You're like over it.
well, because it's like it's either because I don't know how to. I actually cannot emotionally handle this job, so sometimes I'm like I might just not do it
You have
tonight.
to disassociate.
you know?
a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
relate to that. And when there's outside shows, I've never
It's
worked.
bad.
I've never worked when it's roast battle, but for Crack 'em Up, there's so many comics that are great. Come in, go see the show. But a lot of them don't know. I don't know them. They don't know me, and they don't care to acknowledge me. And they just walk, and I'll stop them, and it's just embarrassing because I get the vibe that they're like upset. I don't know who they are, but
Yeah.
I'm just like trying to make sure people are going to the right place.
That's fucked up. That's not a.
It happens
Yeah.
so much.
I bet, but
Like,
you go like, hey, have we met? I'm
Yeah.
the door guy here. Can
You're an
I
out of town
help you?
comic. Go fuck.
Yeah,
yeah.
Fucking be respectful.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know
Order
you. Do you
it.
know me?
they don't care. Like one
Right, yeah.
one guy was like, "Hey, where are you going?" He's like, "Upstairs," and kept walking. And I go, "Okay, nice to meet you." And he goes, "Yeah." Just
Yeah.
kept walking. I was like, "I guess the pleasure is all
Ooh,
mine."
I'm mad
Yeah.
for you. I'm
This is
so
a-
mad
That
for
doesn't
you.
happen to you
No.
at backdoor.
At back
People
door?
don't just walk by you like they're comics.
Yeah, like if I'm like not paying attention, but mainly
Yeah.
I ask.
I-
I'll like,
yeah.
yeah.
I ask them, but sometimes I can tell they're a comic, and then I'll ask. But the coolest people are always like, "Hey, I'm on the show tonight," or "I'm a comic. I just want to watch." And
It's so
they're always,
easy
like,
to
so-
get
yeah.
everywhere in here, and
Yeah.
you just have to like know what the fuck you're doing. Like, be nice to people.
Yeah.
And, like, follow a little bit, just the tiniest amount of direction.
Yeah.
And then they come on another night, and I know them, and it's like, maybe there's room in the OR or the main
That's
room.
exactly
like,
how it works.
There was
Yeah.
this comic from Jacksonville, Florida. He was wearing a denim jacket that had the word "goat" on the back. He kept blocking.
Sounds
the
really
stairs.
chill already. A
Kept
Floridian
blocking
with goat.
the
yeah.
stairs for crack 'em up. Just kept, and I had to keep telling several. I was like, bro, I was getting more angry every time. I was like, and then he eventually, I had to tell fucking
Security? Or?
not security, but Uncle, what's his name? Fucking
Levi. Uncle
Levi. Uncle Levi. He was like, all right, and he like smooth talked him. And then I was like, this guy better be fucking funny. He has the ego of like the greatest comedian of all time. He goes up and eats a bag of shit,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
the best. It was the best. It felt good.
Like a real goat.
Blocking my
Nice. Yeah. The comeuppance on that is very real. 90% of the time, if a comic is acting like that, and like a really good comic who deserves to be here, you know that, like, okay, well, someone's gonna learn a lesson today. Yeah.
I
I
almost
love
ID'd Anthony Jeselnik. On the patio, I was like, hi, can I sit? Oh, sorry. And he was like, and he stopped. I think he was like about to take his wallet out. I was like, no, you're good.
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh, thanks.
That's the way you do. That's like class. That's chill as hell.
Yeah, and confidence. Like, and he's, yeah.
I accidentally like stressed your wife a little the other day, where I was just like, vaccine ID. I thought she said I'm with Saul, and I was like, oh, and then someone was like, no, I'm Saul's wife, is what she had said, and I was like, sorry, yeah, it's whatever.
Stress all you want, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Wow, this is gonna last.
I'm talking about career over family.
Speaking of how rooms are set up, I ran into Todd Glass here. It was very nice. I loved seeing him, and he's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But he has a very big thing about how every comedy room should look, and I think that's I try and model that, like, my kind of, like, I'm very influenced by his aesthetic of like very dark, like low ceiling, everything. So that's why I like to turn the house lights off for the OR, because it just looks better.
Yeah.
And you can still see, and the neons are still there, but it should feel like a nightclub. That's why I don't like the big light in the main room lobby that just like makes it like a daytime. It's not daytime. It should be seedy and like dark and night.
It's adult time.
It's adult time for adults who are over 21 and want to throw little fits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. It was nice seeing Todd. Any highlights from the week, gang?
I had a fun conversation with Duncan Trussell last night because I walked, we were pretty much closed. I walked into the bathroom and it was dark, and he was peeing in there in the dark, and then he was
Oh, it was really late.
yeah,
So the building had shut down.
the building
Yeah,
was shut
right.
down.
I've had a few of those bathroom runs.
And then he brought it up where he was like, it's dark in here. I was like, yeah, man, I do this all the time where I don't know where the light switch is either. I work here, and I was like, I don't know where the light switch is either. And then I was like, and then you just look like a guy peeing in the dark. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm not a guy peeing in the dark. Like, I feel you. Like, I hate that. and then he was like, you ever feel like this place is haunted? And I was like, I don't really believe in ghosts, but every time I walk into the main room, I just wait to see a man on stage.
Yeah.
And then I never do. And then he was like, yeah, one time I was in the belly room, and I saw these two guys fighting in the hallway. So I went up, and I told him, I was like, hey, you guys got to stop fighting in the hallway. And then they left. And then I turned back around. It was the exact same two guys having the same exact fight. And then we were just both kind of like,
He was on
I don't know
psychedelics, man. Get the
Yeah,
fuck
I know.
out of here,
I
dude.
don't
know what
Get
that
the
was.
hell out of here.
I got legit scared
What?
Yeah.
when?
just now when you told that story.
No, I mean, this comes up a lot, but the Comedy Store is haunted by living people. That's who it's
Okay,
haunted
okay.
by. There's no ghosts here, but it is really, there's some weird energy. Mark Maron used to do a joke about how the energy coming off the Comedy Store was so bad that people driving down Sunset would change lanes to get farther away from it. And they didn't know why, but that's a funny joke. You all took
sorry.
that seriously.
Yeah, I'm really
No.
scared now.
No, it's a
Mark
funny.
Maron, the ghost hunter. You know,
Podcast was going good, then Jesse got all scared.
he got all chilled in the bones.
I do not like horror stories.
Duncan is back at the Comedy Store. He had a really fun set in the main room, and it was his first time back in 2 years or something. And he was a comic here, and then he was not quite a door guy, but he worked phones, and he was like Mitzi's assistant, and then he was like talent coordinator for like a year and a half or something like that. And he and Don were in the back last night, really chopping it up for a bunch of door guys. And like Lockwood was there, Morgan the server, Hassan was hanging out, and like a couple more people like in and out. And that was a really fun to like listen to Duncan and his wife and Don like reminisce about the old days. Yeah. Of like Mitzi still being alive and stuff. It was that was fun.
You
That
were
is
like,
really
shut
cool.
the fuck up, you
Yeah.
old ass motherfuckers.
Yeah. Listen, I've got some complaints about certain audience members today. Yeah, no, it was fine. They were really like, I love listening in on stuff, and like they drop names like, oh, Floyd Dingle was like the guy. And you're like, I don't know, heard of this fucking guy. Like whatever.
Dude, that's why I love when those like fucking paid regulars who never did shit with their lives come back and they're like, I'm a paid regular. And it's like, don't you realize you're actually embarrassing yourself?
Oh, when they
Because-
take you to their
Yeah,
name
yeah,
on the
yeah,
wall, you're like,
yeah.
Because it's like,
I'm gonna
they're-
start coming around again.
yeah.
I would do that.
They're trying to like big dick, but what I see is like, okay, so you were given an amazing opportunity, you didn't do shit with it. Like, if my name was on the wall and nothing happened, I'd be like, take that shit off. Like, that's a sign of failure. You know
painting
what I
Or
mean?
over
Like,
it one
you
day.
come back quietly.
you come back and
Yeah.
you're like, oh yeah, I used to come here. It's just nice, you know.
put a
But then,
Jesus candle next to their fucking name.
Yeah.
In memoriam.
yeah, all these fucking losers come back. They're like,
Paint
you're
a
gonna,
microphone white like it's a bike on the side of the road.
yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
When they come back and be like, I'm a paid regular, I should have just been like, man, what happened? Like, because you're a loser right now, is what you are. And I could be you too, but I'll be less of a dick about it. I hope so.
Anyway, leave your keys in the car. I'll
Leave the
park
keys
it.
in the car. Yeah,
And take your name tag off. You're about to go on stage.
yeah.
We did a Belly Room show on Wednesday, like we do every Wednesday. Come check it out. Free tickets, I think.
Up next.
Up next is the show, and it's every Wednesday. But I was doing a kind of noodling around and like doing kind of new stuff, and then not really trying super hard, and I didn't feel great about my set. And then Dave Waite, who's running the room from the back, goes, Luke, we got a special guest next. I had already said like I'm getting. He didn't interrupt me or anything like he has
Yeah.
before, but he was like, special guest, and I was like, oh yeah. And he goes, Aziz, and I go, okay. And I felt really cool about the intro. I was like, everybody, he's very funny, ladies and gentlemen, Aziz Ansari. And like I like brought him up to that. I didn't like hem and haw about it or whatever, or like give him too little or like I think I did a good one. But that was like kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
Like a guy like that come and do the Belly Room a little bit, and to be able to bring him up, that's pretty cool.
That
You
was
wanna-
like the first time anyone big has done the show,
Yeah.
too, right?
It was
That
really
show.
Or
exciting.
anyone that's like not even a door guy's done the
Yeah.
show, I feel like.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was the first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what if you were like, sorry, you can't do our show?
Well, he's up and coming. I don't know if you
Yeah.
know this.
And he's
Yeah,
like,
but he's
but I'm
not a door guy.
Aziz.
Yeah.
He's not a door guy, though.
I found out he was going through the door through Brandon Bricks. He was fucking stomping down the hall.
Yeah.
He was so upset.
I understand that,
That he bumped him?
people were.
Oh,
yeah.
gives a
oh, 'cause he
shit.
bumped him.
Yeah, I think Lockwood was mad too, but like I understand that it's
What?
like adding a little like, but
Yeah, making the show worth coming to.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what
Yeah.
they're mad about. That's so fucking funny.
Because I think that would, I don't know, I would be like putting that on Instagram next week.
Yeah,
It's like, you'll never know who you might see.
right. That's
called
you'll
catfishing
never know
people,
who you might
right?
see
Yeah.
at the Comedy Store Wednesdays 8 p.m. Yeah. Any other highlights from the week?
I saw Tony Baker, who like you see your regulars, like the people here all the time.
Tony's
I
semi-regular here, but
is he? I hardly see him.
He's-
He's incredible.
semi-regular. He's here like once a month or so. Like, but he's a road dog. Like he makes his money as a comic, so he's not here all the time.
So like that's like seeing like guys like that are road dogs or like
Mm-hmm.
they're like you rarely see like just little treats.
He's one of my faves. Do you like him?
A lot.
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. He goes into characters. I like guys with characters like that. He's
He did
phenomenal.
15 minutes on cereal and like asking people what your favorite cereal is, and then doing like, oh, Raisin Bran, you born, and then he had 2 minutes on Raisin Bran. And he goes, who else? Lucky Charms. He had 2 minutes on Lucky Charms. And he did that for 15 minutes. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
And
he knows how to set something up and just ring all the punchlines out.
exactly.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah. And he loves talking about animals. And
Yeah, cat jokes and shit. Yeah.
Pound for dog. Cats stronger than dogs. Pound for pound. It's pound for pound. Cat's stronger than dog. I go every time I think about that. It cracks me up.
Do the math.
Hey, who's the king of the jungle? Not a wolf. You know, like
Yeah.
it's such a good. Yeah, he's the best, man. Yeah.
I love when a comic can like talk about small things but like blow it up. So
Yeah.
it's just like, do you like Lucky Charms? And the guy's like, I do. And then he's like, here's why you're a dumb piece of shit. And everyone's like,
oh, he goes
Like-
positive usually because he's it's a night. So that's another like bringing people in.
Right.
Yeah. But he got like each marshmallow I think got 30 seconds.
That's-
You know, like he's amazing.
Christ.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Clean too. Oddly, like he doesn't really curse. I hardly ever see him curse.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
That's like,
that's the mark of a really strong comic
Yeah.
for
yeah,
sure.
you don't need it. That's like how Jesus Trejo has like, at this point it's like close to like 8 to 10 minutes just on sticking chicken wings in an air fryer.
Yeah, it's so
and
funny.
Yeah. Well,
Going
we'll
through-
get the whole thing away, but yeah, the humidifier and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Going through every step of it, and like you think the joke's done,
It
then
just
it's like,
keeps
yeah.
and it keeps getting better and
yeah.
better too.
He has, and then he calls it back in another joke like later towards the end too. He's gotten really good at that chunk. It's fun to see. And Jesus Trejo, every time he has mic work that I like, he makes sounds with the mic.
Yeah.
He hits his body for a punch sometimes, and it sounds like really like a punch, and it's really good, and it like shocks the audience, and everyone's like dialed in because he's like, hey, like I'm doing comedy. It's great. I like watching him a lot. His mic work is good.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
My highlight for the week is like a highlight I have most weeks, but I can't do it every night. But sometimes when I'm working, I love popping in to see Don Barris, and just riffing with him on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like 5 people left in the OR on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And
Those are sometimes the best.
it was so fun because when there's like a bigger crowd, I don't like to take up much of his time, even though I think he wants us to interrupt him.
It depends moment to moment, not even night to night, but like moment to moment. Don Barris will be like thrilled or very displeased with you.
Yeah, but this was like, it was 5 people. You
Yeah.
could tell he wasn't having fun at first, and so it was like, okay, tonight I'll do it, and I'll just sit in the back, and it was really fun, and it felt like a full room, even though it was.
Does he have like a nickname for you, or like does he assign a character to you?
Yeah, I've become head of security, not like Hans Gerber, but like security for the club.
Right. Yeah.
Because every time I'll leave to go bus, I'll bring some glasses to the kitchen, and then when I go back into the room, he'll say, "Oh, hang on a minute,
Yeah.
security just walked in here. Is everything okay?"
And they see tiny you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I usually say something like, "Yeah, there's a bunch of underage girls trying to rush into the club to see you, but don't worry, I told them all to beat it." It's like, oh man,
That's a good riff. Yeah.
Yeah, but then that's usually I'll do that like 2 times, but this last week I just kept it going with him, and then I won't do all the bits, but it was really fun.
That's a fun time. And usually, if you're an audience member and you want to come see just the Comedy Store, if you come after 11:30, you could probably sit in the original room and see Don close out, which is like a fun.
If you're a
Yeah.
comedy fan, you gotta experience. If you're in LA, you gotta experience Don Barris.
It's
it's
wonderful.
fun.
Fun is one word for it for sure. It's really there are times where it really like I just start sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has any of you ever seen the Ding Dong Show?
Yeah,
No.
It's coming back.
I know,
I
but
it makes me feel like I'm in a rubber room, like the loony bin. I just cannot. I can't stay in there for more than 5 minutes.
He's good at corralling them.
Oh.
Though. He'll just get a guy that's like literally. It's like, where is this person's family?
No,
Like,
they're
are
all
they
touched.
right?
They're all juggalos
Yeah.
or something, or
They're all,
orphans.
they're all like just.
Yeah.
He's got some simpletons here. He's got some touched people over here, and it's just like,
Yeah.
and it's really like, but he goes, "Why the fuck would you say that?" And they're
Right.
like, "I don't know, Don." And then they say something even crazier, and then I go, I don't like it.
they're ding dongs.
Don is like
They're very much ding dongs is the exact
Yeah.
word for it. They are ding dongs.
Don is like the last of a dying breed of guys like P.T. Barnum who like walk down the street. You know what I mean? Like Don literally, I think, just walks down the street and goes like, "You're an oddball,"
He's
and
a
then
magnet
like
for
puts him on a stage for people to just like that guy. Psycho Surfer, I guess, like had a testicle. Schizo Surfer.
Yeah.
That was. Have you seen the picture of his testicle?
Oh yeah, that's
it's like it's
enlarged.
literally
Yeah.
this big.
Like
it was
elephantitis
literally
or
this
whatever,
big,
yeah.
and he would take it out, and then once he got it fixed, Don was like, "You're useless now. You are absolutely." And it's like nobody.
Almost spit out my water.
Nobody like him exists anymore. There's no guys that are like, people want to see freaks. Like, there's nobody that's like, I want a show of just mutants.
Maybe on
like,
Coney Island or something.
yeah.
Very much like it's a very like bearded lady.
I was about to say.
And, like strong man kind of
Yeah.
vibe. But Earl Skakel has a story about how he was at an audition and someone was like, "Hey, I've seen you at the Comedy Store, right?" And he was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "Let me ask you something. Does Don Barris, does he have mind control? Does he can he control people with his mind?" like honestly asked him this question. And you have to stop and think. You go, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he does.
Well, he finds people whose minds are easily controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah,
you find
yeah,
a fella
yeah.
where you go, this guy, he's got nobody around him, and I'm going to be the guy.
Broken home type.
Yeah.
You know
But I mean,
That's,
he
you know.
knows these people's family. Like he knows Schizo Surfer's like mom, and like
Yeah.
he's like he'll be home at a certain time.
In his
It's
heart,
very-
he is sweet. That's
Yeah.
what's so great
Yeah.
about
Probably.
Don. Yeah, like that Hans Gruber guy, he's been going crazy lately. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you've talked about him or described
Yeah,
him before.
he's Don's quote unquote head of security. Sometimes he brings food to ingratiate himself
Yeah.
to the door
He
guys.
brought
Or
40
a
dry
basketball?
Arby's roast beef
Yeah,
sandwiches.
funny.
he also
Pizza.
apparently took his shirt off and tried to come in the club the other day. Was kind of
He-
Well, that was part of his bad progression.
Yeah, he had two moments at least that I saw recently where I was covering the back door, I think for like Jesse or Logan, and he walked by and he goes, "Where's Barris? Barris is gonna get it." And then he takes $40 and throws it on the podium, and then he runs into the main room, which is closed, and he's like, "Where's Don?" And then the whole time I'm like, I would stop it if it wasn't this guy. Because he's a little guy, so like I don't know. And then he goes into the OR and he's like, "Hey, Barris!" And
Is
then
Barris
he
on stage?
yeah, and then he
walked by where he was on
Yeah.
stage to
'Cause-
go to the empty room.
because he does he's one of the funniest men in existence because and then he goes
On
into the
accident.
OR.
yeah.
I don't know
think so.
either.
He
Like
gets-
I really like
Gruber.
I know
Hansen.
it's-
I'm like, is this a bit or?
No, it's,
No,
no.
I know
No,
it's
he's crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't think
but
it
there
is
was
because
a long time where I'm like, it might be a bit. I think I was hoping.
he's
I understand. the
he's
hope.
crazy, but he knows it's a bit because like the other night he was saying some wild shit, and then after he said it, he looks at me and goes, like he knew he was
Broke
just
the
very
fourth
funny.
wall.
He did one of the funniest things. He showed up with like a poster framed that was like this big of like Nelly. In like early 2000s with
Band-Aid
a
era?
yeah, like Band-Aid era Nelly, like with a girl, and he just has it with him, and he's like, "Is Barris here?" And I go, and I'm like, "No, he's not." And he goes, "Yeah, he is." And I go, "I didn't see his car." And then he goes, and then I go, and then actually he said, he goes, "Can I come in?" Because he knew he got kicked out, and that's the point where I'm like, "You're not fully crazy, you know this."
No,
And I'm
but
like,
that's a little scarier. Almost.
yeah, and I'm like, listen, I don't totally know if I can let you in because I don't know how serious you getting kicked out is. And he's like, fuck. And then he walks into the street and he has a cup of ice water and a Tesla passes and he just throws it at the Tesla. And then the Tesla slows down and you can see the thinking of the driver just being like,
Is this something I'm going to deal with?
yeah, that's a crazy old man. And then he fucking just stood in the middle of the street facing the Comedy Store with the poster. And then most of the night was walking up and down Sunset angrily. And then like Don was like, Hans, which is so funny that like it's Don's security guard.
Yeah,
and he's
that's
like,
why
Hans,
it's such a
please.
good bit if it is a bit. Like,
because he snaps out of it so quick and he's like, Hans just gave me $50,000. And like, but one time like that same night Don was yelling at him and he's like, what are you doing? And then I go up and I was there and I was like, I think Hans is doing a great job. And then he just switches out and he goes, thank you so much. What's your name? And like,
he did that to
It's
me.
got, if he's this genius, if he's a character the whole time.
I think it's one of the funniest things in the world to do,
I
like
don't
to
think he
be
has a
at the
choice,
Comedy Store.
But he is a character.
But he performs for just the people around.
I know,
like,
it's
he's not on stage. He's funnier than any comedian because he's just doing it in the world.
Yeah.
And like, truly, I think just out of his fucking mind. And then also just one of these guys that just has like inexplicable amounts of money. Like,
Allegedly.
It's yeah. It's
I mean,
not
he's showing up with a lot
it's
of
not
Joe's
inexplicable.
pizzas.
That's
It's
true.
explicable.
Yeah,
and we
he's-
won't go into it on mic. But
Oh,
like,
sick.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll tell you when we're out of here, and then we'll be like, oh, we won't talk about that. Again.
nice.
Yeah.
He's just a sex trafficker this whole time. We're like, this guy's silly.
I was like, I really like this guy.
Yeah.
Sex trafficker with a heart of gold. He's a goofball.
I wish I could tell you were far off.
I thought it was just
But
parents.
Tony, what time we at in there? 50.
Woo!
That's perfect. I want to start wrapping up. I mean, talking about Dawn and stuff. That's a fun ender. Thanks everybody for listening. Jesse, where can people find you online and podcasts and everything like that?
At Jetski Johnson. That's everything.
There you go.
At Saul Comedy.
Yes, I was going to ask you, and I looked at you, and you took the cue perfectly.
Yeah,
It was
right away.
amazing. Cooper?
At Cooper Lyden Instagram, at Lyden Cooper Twitter. Go follow the Sissy Boys Pod account. Sissy Boys Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, all that shit. Just started it. Very fun time.
Who's that with?
With Dan Donahue and Matt LeGrand. If you like TikTok, Dan's big on it. You might know him. He's hot. That's why people watch the cast. So tune in.
Nice. I'm at Luke Does Stuff on Twitter, and my Instagram is also out there. Follow and this whole goddamn podcast right here, and come see the show every Wednesday up next for free in the Belly Room, where we're funny on it. Thanks for listening, everybody.